course, we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. Greatest money they have, the peace they like.
Ray, just sign the papers.
They'll walk out to the bleachers. Sit in the shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. And have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines. They sat when they were children, cheered their heroes, and they'll watch the game. It'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick, you'll have to brush them away from their faces.
Ray, when the bank opens in the morning, they'll foreclose.
Evil will come, Ray.
You're broke, Ray. You sell now or you lose everything.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, evil will come, Ray. Evil will most definitely come.
Ray, you will lose everything. You will be evicted.
Thought that might help us set kind of a tone for our discussion this morning. I want to welcome everybody. We've got a fairly small group this morning. I'm expecting some others to trickle in as we get into this thing this morning. My name is Coach Rick Mabe. Want to go around the room real quick and introduce folks and take a minute just to introduce yourself and just give us some idea of what your background is, just for us to all know who you are. Of course, we'll start with Sheehan.
Why? Everybody knows me.
Oh, but, hey, we record these things. You know, they're on YouTube, and we want to be able to share this with our people. So go ahead.
I gotcha. Cheyenne Kramer. I am a super connector building super puzzles, working in different parts of the country at this point, trying to work to bring people together so that we can create heaven on earth.
Wow. Okay, Seth. Well, get yourself together, Seth. I'll come back to you. Chris?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Collins. I'm the founder of Hope, Housing Our People Everywhere, and love the collaboration that we've been able to put together, so we all work together in a unified group and get some things done. I think everybody pretty much knows me. I think there might be a new person on here. I won't take no time, though. We can get into discussion.
Okay, Darlene?
Hello, I'm Darlene Sartori. I'm presently living in Princeton, Indiana area, and involved in a whole lot of projects with the Ideal Network projects, all about creating ideal conditions in which to live, and helping each person find their essence and be able to apply that in creating ideal conditions in which to live. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, Seth?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everybody. Who else here? Chris, Paul. Everybody knows me, but M. Paul.
That's
I'm
Melanie.
Seth. I'm Melanie. Hi, Melanie. I'm Seth. I'm a recovering addict, recovering everything, learning how to grow again, picking up where I left off when I started using at 10 years old, and am learning a whole new way of life through this. You're surrounded by an awesome group of people that have guided and taught and shown me and allowed me to grow in my own, and just it's amazing the things that you can accomplish when such great minds come together.
Thank you, Seth. Hello, Melanie. How about giving us a little rundown on you? You're muted. Unmute.
There we go. Okay, that's better. Hi, I'm Melanie. I'm in North Carolina. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Right now, I am a forensic accountant is my background, and have gone back to working in that business, but have had this in my heart for several years, many years, to build a residential entrepreneurial incubator to help people get off their feet and back thriving in the community.
That is wonderful to hear. We are gathering so many like minds. Okay. My name is Rick Mabe. I have a rather checkered background, if you will. Maybe that's not the right word. I'm not going to read I just did a bio with Shein the other day that it took a while for me to craft it. And I was pretty surprised by how it turned out. And I think it was pretty good, actually. Shein thinks it was pretty good. But over the last few years, I was the career transition manager for Job Corps for the state of Virginia. Had a caseload of about 900 young adults ages 16 to 24, trying to help them transition out of oppression and self-doubt into a life of self-leadership. And 2013, I received a message from my creator in the form of hope. And shortly after that, I wrote a book called Hope, Your Essence Navigation System, based on 4 universal laws. Honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence are those universal laws that I have come to cherish and to start teaching others in workshops about. Shortly after that, as I've been evolving, I've come up with this, working with Shein and others in new thinking and developing this idea for what some of us call paradise cities, some of us call incubators for business and development and moving forward with our lives. So as we've evolved and come together, we have started this Let's Build It group. Real quickly, just let me tell you that the Hope Institute is a nonprofit 501c3. Right now, we're doing workshops for people in need on Tuesday nights at 7:00 p.m. For people to do. They're free. They're no charge. Some of you on here have participated in those. We have got that ongoing to help people transition into self-leadership. What we're doing here now is, and if for anyone who has not got the business plan, I'll be welcome to share that with you. Melanie, I don't believe you have it. If you're interested after this call, you can communicate with me. I'll be happy to share it with you. So to give you an idea of what we're doing here, all of us have our individual projects, and we're all coming together in a collaborative way to form the Hope Institute. And we are hoping, and let me define hope for you when I say hope. Hope is an honest, omnipotent, pure love essence formula for us to achieve our affirmations in our lives based on the formula I just described. And we honestly assess where we are, where we've been, where we're going. when we embrace our omnipotence and the responsibility and accountability that comes with our godlike power created in the likeness of our Creator, when we live with pure love in our hearts for all mankind around us and with the dominion over Gaia that we have dominion over. When we do those three things and we begin to receive the information that we need to formulate our essence and blossom in our essence, then we're unstoppable. When we create our essence, we achieve it. So that's what we are formulating here. And we want to build a brick and mortar at some point in the Hope Institute. So the Hope word takes on a whole new meaning for people who have gone through the workshops and who have read the book and who have decided that, yes, we have gotten away from our basic understandings of those basic laws that we were created to have, right? And that we need to get back to those in our pursuit of self-reliance and self-leadership. That's it in a nutshell. The book is available. For those who become part of the workshop on Tuesday nights, they get a copy of the book and workbook, ebook, digitally. The book is available through donation also on livinghopeinstitute.org. If you donate, you get a copy of the book and workbook mailed to you. You can contribute to livinghopeinstitute.org to help us keep going in this effort. Like I said, we're a 501c3 charity organization. We also have, there's the book right there. She's showing it to you guys. So there we go. All right, so everybody has kind of talked about their individual projects here a little bit. I'll touch on this morning. Last week, we got into some really good meat of what we're doing here. And so I sent out the meeting minutes this morning at kind of a last minute thing, and I apologize for that. But I want to just kind of talk about those meeting minutes just for a minute to kind of get us kind of started on our discussion this morning. So one of the things I wanted to make clear last week, and I want to do it here now too, and this is something that we really need to understand. First of all, I don't want, the Hope Institute does not want to intrude on anyone's vision of where you believe you need to be, right? You have your life and you have your dreams to fulfill, and so don't change your direction to follow the vision that I'm bringing forward in the book and the workbook and that kind of thing. And unless the Hope Institute fits your vision of where you feel like you want to go, then don't change your vision of where you want to be unless the Hope Institute fits your needs, if that makes sense to you. Secondly, the vision and mission of the Hope Institute can be accomplished in many ways that don't mandate a relocation. I got a call last week from someone that was talking to me about that, and I just want to help everybody understand that we're all located across the country, and while we do want to build these places, everyone's going to have their opportunity to build wherever they feel like they need to build. Currently, what we're doing is we're doing this virtual building of the Hope Institute, and we are formulating a strategy for how we're going to plant seeds around the country using the Hope formula as a kind of a foundation for building those institutes, right? So if you believe in the universal laws of honesty, omnipotence, pure love, and essence, then you've already become a Hope advocate and change leader. And that's the huge part of this thing, right? So I urge you to read the business plan to understand what it is we're trying to accomplish, right? One of the other things we came away from last week was that the business plan can be adjusted. We can delete from that plan to accomplish the goal of the Institute, right? Just remember that the business plan has to fit the needs of those we serve, not fit the needs of those that serve. And so that's really critical to what we're thinking about here. Our business plan has to fit the needs of those we serve, not fit the needs of those who serve. And so one of the things that I've chosen to do, I've been, and one of the struggles we were having with the Hope Institute as an organization, as an entity, was how we structure the organization and how we call ourselves the board and that kind of thing, whoever becomes members of the board of directors of it. I'm going to be the CEO, and I'm going to be the Chief Empowerment Officer. So when Lynn brought that up last week, and she's not here right now, she's a wonderful person. I'm so glad that she's going to join us in this endeavor. I didn't like the title Chief Executive Officer because that carries with it so much of the paradigms we're trying to break free of. So she just came with this thing, Chief Empowerment Officer. And back when I was building teams, when I was working for the Department of Defense, empowerment was one of the big words that we were using. It was the word of the day. It was one of those things that you threw out there that nobody really carried through on because it was a stovepipe vertical organization. But Chief Empowerment Officer, just when she said that, it was like, oh my God, that is it. That is, so that's what I am. I'm changing that. It's Chief Empowerment Officer. So I just want to make that clear. All right. So those were the things I wanted to make clear to you, right? So then, and so we're gonna get into and when you guys, I'm reading this, I can't really see you guys right now. Hold on a second. Is there anything anyone wants to add to that from last week?
I think we identified that there were a lot of different pieces that still could be written into the business plan, and that, because there can be different forms that this takes, and that's where Melanie's name came up, because she and I have already talked about using abandoned hotels, abandoned strip malls, abandoned hospitals, so you've got the very well laid out, very large vision, but these things can still happen in some alternative ways. And also, and I heard this more and more this week, because I've been connecting you with a lot of folks up there in the DC area. Yeah. There's so many people who got the same dang vision. I mean, I've run into at least 5 of them right up there in your area right now. And some of them are still in the early stages of forming their nonprofit too. Yeah. And, this kind of goes back to some of the things Melanie and I were talking about last year, was the idea that, well, is it necessary for every one of these organizations to have their own individual CFO and their own individual fundraiser? Or can there be a core team of these folks that are serving all the different organizations that are involved? That's what I'm trying to help people see, is that it doesn't have to be strictly the same structure that everybody is used to.
Right. We're going to get to that here in a minute. We're going to get to that in just a minute. That's in the meat of the minutes. I just wanted to wrap up those observations I wanted to make it clear that what we're not trying to do here. We're not trying to, and I keep saying this because we're not trying to be the Borg. That's right. and trying to absorb all of these entities into this megala thing like the Clinton Foundation or something stupid like that. We want to, not that I'm trying to be negative about the Clintons, okay? I'm not getting into politics with this at all. Don't even drag me into that discussion. Because that would destroy us all right here, right now. We just don't want to go there. Politics is not going to fall into this. I want to depoliticize our country completely. So that's not even a worthwhile discussion. So, okay, so I want to go on and continue with our meeting minutes so that Melanie gets an idea of where we came away from last week. So the Institute exists and has several projects ongoing around the country with Shein. Marshall would have been here. She sent me a message. So Melanie, you need to know that Marshall is a very high level marketer, in my opinion. She's a comedian. Her name is Marshall Woodland.
Melanie knows her. She knows her.
Okay. All right, good. All right. So she couldn't be here this morning, but she's a very key part of the team. So she's involved. So the Institute exists and has several projects ongoing around the country with Shein, Marshall, Seth, Chris, Kim, and Lynn, right? And Darlene. Darlene's got already building one, a brick and mortar kind of establishment out in Indiana, where she's got a bunch of people pulling things together there. Each person has been asked to, now, some of the people have done this. Each person has been asked to send Rick a summary of what their projects are and what they believe their role is in the Hope Institute. So some have sent that, some have not. We're still waiting to get the combination of all that together, just so that we have those projects. So that, because here's, I started having this vision last week too about how the Hope Institute website, and I just say that because that's kind of our presence, right? Right now, I can see how where we take the Hope Institute thing and start using that, kind of like what Sheehan was showing me in the Triangle Solutions Alliance, how she pulls different organizations together into kind of an alliance kind of picture there. I can see how when we pull these projects together, how the Hope Institute presence will be showing all these projects in a sharing kind of environment on that portal. So that's what we're waiting for everybody to send those things in as we move, so that we can decide whether people want to be, what they want their role to be in the Hope Institute. We decided that we needed to modify the packaging to be more palatable to outsiders. We also decided that, and I agree completely with this, the Hope Institute is a community and economic development corporation with a chief empowerment officer at the helm. And when I say at the helm, what I mean is a facilitator. We got to make very clear that this is a teaming thing. It's not something that's got some bonehead at the helm, like some, and I don't need to go any further with that. Some of the people that we may want to help get involved with this thing, and one of them here has arrived today, is Melanie Paul. We talked about Mary Ann Williamson and Leon Isaac Kennedy. We still need to see if we can reach out to those folks and give them some idea of what it is we're doing. We'll get there. And then we have to look at the places that are close to the people we serve, abandoned malls and other properties. Now, I had a conversation with someone who's very near to these people that we need to serve. And so this is something that we need to really consider hard about when we're thinking about this stuff. This person, I'm going to quote them. It's so peaceful away from society and away from all the temptations and the hustle and bustle and all the other bad things that come with living in town. I can't live in a place in town. I was formally invited to make where I'm at to be my permanent home. I haven't had that since I was a child. And that's from a person who has experienced the addiction and the homelessness and all the things that go along with what it is we're trying to help people to get away from. Now, here's the idea that I had. As I was thinking about this, I've been thinking about this all week long. The abandoned malls and the abandoned buildings, because here's the thing, and I'm going to cover all 5 of these points, and we're going to go back and we're going to go over each one of these, and I want to hear everybody's thoughts on them. I just wanted to wrap this stuff up. So we'll get to my idea in a minute. Let me just finish the 6 points. The 5th point was we need to get some things underway faster to get people working. We need to get new people in to help build the institutes. The idea that came up was that we have many service orgs that help people build inside cities for renovating homes and such. And we'll go over that. The 6th thing was we need to get resources coming in by getting the business plan more detailed and more of a hook. And the actions that came out of that was everyone needed to send a resume to Rick for us all to consider. I got one. Rick needs to work on the business plan packaging in detail. I started working on that, but I need help with that. And then Rick will research intentional communities. I haven't done that yet. All right, so going back to item number 1. Does everybody understand that we're not trying to intrude on anyone's vision of where it is they are? Right? Melanie, Melanie, I want you to get your input on what we're talking about here. Do you understand what we're saying when we say that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any comment from anyone on that? Everybody agrees? Okay. Does everybody agree with me being what we call a chief empowerment officer? Humbly asking you guys if you feel like that's a good title. As
Yeah.
times go. Okay. All right. So far, so good. Okay, does everyone get the idea that we can accomplish what we're doing without people needing to relocate per se? Yeah, I mean, Sheehan, where are you right now? I don't even know where you're at this point. Where are you at?
I'm sitting here with Darlene right now.
Still in Indiana, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darlene, I know you appreciate having her and Dawn there. Anyway, so, all right, so, everybody here, Melanie, I know that you have not been involved with the HOPE formula, but I think you probably grasp the idea behind it, right? I mean, the honesty, the omnipotence, the pure love, and the essence. I think those are very simple concepts for people to understand, but it's been so difficult for people to actually try to live them. I don't know what your situation is, but if I will send you an invitation and booking workbook ebook for you to take a look at, because if you're going to be involved with us, you really need to understand what it is we're talking about. And I'm not asking you to get deeply involved with the workshops if you don't feel like you need to do that, but you probably know people who do. So, you know, I'm doing this thing, no charge to folks, but anyway, so if we get the people that are going to be involved with this institute concept need to embrace those ideas, that we need to get back to that basic concept. This is not a cult or anything. If it was, we would be talking about something really different. I think you get that idea, right? Okay. All right, so let's get into what the meat of the thing was last time that we got into about where this thing needs to happen and talking about these abandoned buildings and such. Did we lose some people? Okay, okay. All right. So here's what came to me when we were talking about abandoned malls and that kind of thing. There was when someone says to me, I can't be in the town, I can't be in the city, I can't be in the place where I'm tempted and that kind of thing, where I might be drawn back into my behaviors. We have places like the Salvation Army. We have places for battered women. We have places where we have Job Corps. We have a lot of organizations that are already bringing people in off the street. We also have abandoned malls and we have abandoned buildings. My thing is, I don't want us to, if we can all agree that we don't want to lose sight of the idea that we need people to have a place of sanctuary away from the ability to escape, if you will, and go back into the street looking for that fix or looking for whatever it is they might be looking for if they get tempted to take off. One of the things that Job Corps teaches these kids, they take some of these Job Corps centers are located inside cities, but most of them are out in the country. Most of them are out away from where things are reminding these people of what it is they're getting away from. Because they're going to be tempted enough later on when they leave to go back out there. They're going to be tempted enough by what they have learned, right? Once they leave again. So I think that what we can do, I don't think we should get away from the idea of malls and abandoned hotels or whatever they are. I think that we just need to think about how maybe they're transition points, right? Where, and I agree, we need to get something moving. If you know, we need to get funding coming in to be able to go out and acquire these properties or rent these properties, however we need to do it, in order to be able to get these folks in to start learning about what it is we're doing, to start learning about the Hope Formula, to start learning about these entrepreneurship incubators that we're talking about doing inside these places, to help these people get what they need to go back out and be value creators. So I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. I just, you know, when I hear from the horse's mouth that they need to get away from what they were involved in, I dig that. I mean, I absolutely, that's one of the reasons we want to set this thing up in a, you know, when I had the farm concept, the business plan, it calls for farms. And when I say farms, the only reason I said farms when I did this is because a farm, you know, Melanie, you haven't seen the business plan. Let me give you a real quick synopsis. They're going to be able to, we want them to be able to produce their own food. It's a community of people ranging from, and I'm not going to say what the business plan says right now because the business plan is built to transition up to 200 people a year through it. 200 people. It's a 2-year stint. People come in for up to 2 years, going through there up to 200 per year, going through there on a cycling basis. So that's the big vision. It can be as small as we need it to be, like 20 acres with 15, 20 people a year going through it, whatever it is. You know, we can do what we got to do. But the concept is this: produce your own food, produce your own power, have your own treasury, have a school to teach people a trade, or to get the resources out in the community to transition people to get their trade, or whatever it is they need to learn. Arts too. Feed people from the community and transition them into businesses or jobs in the community when they're done. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. The other piece of it is that there's homes there for people to live in. There's a dormitory. There are homes for our residents. The concept includes, and this is kind of a hard sell a little bit for people, is that the masters who are there, when I say masters, I'm talking about people who have learned the Hope Formula enough to where they want to teach it to people, and people who are masters at things like farming. The farmer lives there, right? The master of whatever trade, HVAC, whatever it is, lives there and teaches there. We give them a home. So it might have been a homeless person who was once upon a time was a master craftsman. We bring them in, we give them a home, we let them teach people what the trade is that they mastered if it's in demand in the community. So I know it's a lot, but that's the concept of what it is we want to do in these institutes.
I understand the concept. That's very similar to something that I've envisioned. So I think it's great. I understand it.
Kind of thought you would.
Yeah. I've been trying to do this for a long time, but it takes a team. It's hard to do it one person by themselves. It's really hard.
I'm done. It's time.
Yeah.
We've been evolving through this over years, and we've now got, I finally got the 501c3 tax exempt and all that kind of stuff, and got things set up to where, like I said, 2013 is when I started this journey with the formula and stuff, and now it's time to get this thing moving. I was out yet this morning looking at properties in Virginia, and they're there. I mean, there's properties all over the place. I'm with Sheehan though. The more of a property we can get that is needing the least amount of work to get it set up to bring people in, the better. Mm-hmm. I was saying last week, there was a property in Middlesex County that last fall came up for sale. It was an abandoned Boy Scout camp. And here's the thing. I had a thought when this came up with it. All these Boy Scout camps are going bankrupt, right? Boy Scouts went bankrupt because of all the sexual abuse going on. How many Boy Scout camps do you think are out there that are folding up and becoming available? you know, and the Boy Scout camp that was available in Middlesex County was $3.5 million. If I had a checkbook with $3.5 million, I'd have gone there and stroked a check that day. They don't have any idea how quick Rick would have gone in there with $3.5 million and struck them a check for what they were asking for. There would not have been any discussion. I'd have walked right in there. I wouldn't have been negotiating because I know what that would do. I know it had everything we needed. It had dormitories. It had a kitchen that would feed hundreds of people. It had everything. Olympic-sized pool. It had all this stuff that is a turnkey for what we're trying to do. And if we could find that, if we get the funding, when we get the funding, we can go in and find I think we could find a turnkey place to do it. So for me, the funding is the biggest. For me, the vision, we all have the vision, I think. I believe we could put together a board of directors kind of thing. So Melanie, let me ask you, what is your essence? What is your life purpose? What is it you do?
I help people. I help people in many different ways. I had to take a step back and focus on my accounting business because I needed a solid platform to take it to the next stage. We kept spinning around in circles, and I got burned several times by helping others. Learned a ton of lessons.
Right.
But what I see that I can help right now is with in the numbers realm. I'm really good. My thing is, and I had the formula and I got it all figured out, but I burned out in the process by trying to help people. And I should have stayed in that other piece, not being the one to help everybody, because somehow I easily sucked into that position. So I've been working on boundaries, but my main thing is it has to be sustainable. I mean, it's great to get land and it's great to get donations. Everything's wonderful. I was a CFO for several years of nonprofits. I understand the nonprofit model. I get the numbers, I get it. But if it's not sustainable, it has a high probability of crashing and burning. And there's a lot of companies out there that have great intentions and they get started and everything's wonderful. But if you don't have that model for sustainability and to show it, and it has to be a model that can be tweaked and it's not set in stone, because things change. COVID happened, the world changed.
Right.
You have to be able to take that model and adjust and adapt to change. That's my strength. Okay.
So you're an accountant?
I'm an accountant.
That's a good thing to have.
Okay. This is what we need right now at the Hope Institute more than anything else. I think that we are trying to get the foundation in place, just like you just said.
Yeah.
I
have, and Cheyenne asked me about this, I have, and I'm willing to share what I created. Because it's not
I'm sorry, but repeat that.
I have the financial foundation I have that can be adapted to pretty much any organization that wants to do this. I am more than happy to share it.
Okay, let's do that.
I'd like to have that.
Okay.
Hang on, Chris. Hang on. Hang on. This is where I want us to realize that we do need to set some little boundaries here. Okay. We're here together. We're trying to get this Hope Institute concept together, and we need to work together here on this, right? So, Melanie, I would like to, the Hope Institute needs a treasurer and someone who can be on the board with me to make this thing happen. And I'm seeking people, and that's why I'm asking for resumes of people who would be willing to step up and help us make this thing happen. Now, I'm going to be transparent with you all the way with this, right? We are brand new.
Yeah.
right? We have Sheehan, we have Chris, we have Seth over there. He's napping. We have some very, very talented people who are standing by to be able to do this stuff all over the country. Chris is already involved in building little houses for people all over the place.
Yeah.
Darlene is doing her thing in Indiana. Sheehan has got these entrepreneurship stuff going on all over the country, and she is bringing people together with us. We've all joined alliances. We're all moving forward with stuff that is amazing. So with the Hope Institute, for us to be moving forward under this amazing charity that we're trying to put together, we need a treasurer. We need a good secretary. My wife is doing it right now. Don't know how much involved she can be at this point because she works full time just like I do. But we need a treasurer and an accountant who can do the numbers for us, who can help us get through that. We need a marketer. We got Marshall. Marshall has stepped up. Seth, yes, sir.
I'm good at math.
What'd you say?
I'm good at math.
Okay.
Never heard that.
But so Melanie,
Yes.
I'm glad that you're here. I want to share the business plan with you. I'll send that to you this morning.
All right.
Take a look at it. Don't be try not to be try not to be it's
I'm
not
good.
it's not casting concrete. That's what I'm trying to say here is this. It's robust, right? This is the thing. I mean, I've got a business degree, you know, that kind of thing. I'm not trying to say that I'm some kind of master of anything. I'm saying that it came from what knowledge I do have, but I'm not a genius and I'm not a standalone kind of guy. I'm a team builder from years and years and years. That's why we're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Right. So the business model is built on this grand vision of 200 plus acres with a farm, with all the things that we want to do.
Got it.
But we don't have, and I've been told, and I've been told out forthright, we've got to do better with our packaging. We've got to do better. We got to get our fundraising going better. So you want to take a look? Melanie, you want to take a look?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I would be more than happy to look at it.
Okay. All right.
I'd be more than happy to share what I've created with anybody. I mean, like I said, it's a team, and I know now where I need to be in it and where my place is.
Okay,
It
good.
wasn't what I was doing.
Okay, good. And I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to step on people's toes here, but remember, we're here with the Hope Institute trying to get a coalition of people together to build these Hope Institutes, right? So let's stick with the vision of the Hope Institute on here if we can, and bring everybody together. So I need a treasurer and that kind of thing to make this thing happen. So we'll do that. So there's that. Miss Lynn last week is now part of the team. You'll meet her soon. She's away right now. She's doing some speeches today, this week and next actually, but we're working on her offline. She sent me a property to look at this week. It's in Tappahannock. It was great for her to send it. It's not going to work. I don't think that's going to be one of our properties that we can look at because it's just land. And it's $750,000 for land. So we need to start thinking about how we're setting our boundaries in terms of the properties that we would be willing to look at. Opportunity zones is excellent. If we can find like a place in an opportunity zone that works for us, but we need to step back, right? I mean, Chris is a gung-ho guy. Chris is out there, he's charging, right? But for us at this level, when I say level, I mean, the Hope Institute is this umbrella thing, right? That's going to be able to fund a lot of people. This is not, you know, this is not a micro level. This is going to be a macro level for a lot of work we got to do, right? We've got to do proof of concept. We know that. So we've got to figure out how we're going to do that. And here's one of the things I think would be excellent. And I was thinking about Darlene this morning, and I'm going to step out here and just say this. If we can do a fundraiser in the name of the Hope Institute, right? And we can get some funds together to help Darlene on her property, bring in what she needs to finish out that property that she's got there on 20 some acres. That could be a proofing concept. Okay. Of course, now we've got to get Darlene to buy in on that. She's being real quiet right now. I haven't talked to Darlene about this. I don't know what the ins and outs of this is going to would be. But I just want to put this out here that I'm willing to travel, to visit, to do speeches, to bring people together, to do coaching and that kind of thing. I can't do a lot of it because I'm limited in my abilities right now because of a couple of things. One, I work full time for FEMA. Two, I don't want to catch COVID, if that even is a real thing. But so I'm willing to do that part of it, and I'm willing to get out here and speak and raise funds to bring in cash to help get a proof of concept done. And it can be the one in Princeton. But I want us to agree that we're going to try to follow. One of the things that's really key to me, guys, one of the things that is fundamental is the following of is the embracing of the Hope Formula. We're starting to build testimonials around the Hope Formula and the workshops we do on Tuesday night, and the people are starting to really understand that when you do that assessment and you look in the mirror and you look in your eyes and you start understanding what it is you have to do, it's the most powerful tool on the planet for helping people to get through that oppression and all that shit they've been dealing with all their lives. So that piece, so I want to put that out there. Just, you know, I know I'm talking a lot. Am I being selfish? So the proof of concept, we've got a property in Princeton that needs help, I think,
Right.
and needs people, needs little homes, and needs stuff that we can do for Darlene if Darlene's willing. And I'm not going to ask Darlene to speak if she doesn't want to, but if we can get some fundraising going around the Hope Institute quickly and bring in the funds, we can travel out there. Sheehan's already out there. She's got to leave, I know, in a couple months or whatever she's got to leave, but it's
End of
just
month.
saying.
I got to leave here right now. I'll be back in a few.
Okay, proof of concept is something that we've got to do, right, Melanie? I mean, we've got to get a proof of concept model in place to prove it out.
So I have a question.
Yeah,
Darlene has land, correct?
say it again.
Darlene has land, or is it land in a building?
Land and buildings. She's got houses and she's got a junkyard that needs to be cleaned out, but
Is there a need for additional housing on that land?
Darlene, you want to chime in here? I don't know. Yeah, there she goes.
Yes, the idea, basically we're starting with rustic camping now, going back to the way that we had it originally. But yes, there's a need for additional housing so that those that are in the process of revamping their lives, being able to have a place that is affordable and secure. We've been looking at the bartering system, the way, again, you mentioned a word earlier about sustainability. It has to have the ability to be sustainable.
Yep.
And sometimes sustainable means that it has to have built into it, of course, the ability to adapt and adjust as needed.
Yep.
So the question is, what is every community's need at the moment? So that is the first thing that a community has to do. So we have to have a system whereby, we have, and if you go to the idealnetwork.biz site, you'll see the remnants of what we had originally put together to adapt this. It's it's first and foremost learning the core concepts of the leadership. And I'm really hesitant to use the word leadership because really it's more about stimulating individuals to begin doing their own thing. Most people are in a crisis situation because they've lost their connection with their core self, with their DNA, with their essence. And because they are in pain from that, they do a lot of other things. So it is about having a place in every community that is very whole life,
Okay.
healthy whole life. And what I'm calling this is the Healthy Whole Life Foundation. And the word foundation is all about that concept of understanding you have to have a sound foundation on which to stand, because we live on land and we unfortunately at this particular moment can't walk on water, but we can float on water on rafts. So in other words, it has to be looking at everything from a holistic standpoint.
Yep.
And once you begin to realize that we have both a brain and a mind, which when you apply the Hope formula and others like it, you begin to realize that the mental capacity of our universe controls everything. And we all are connected to that mental. And so what we're talking about in this moment and time is resonating out through the universes, and others are picking up that vibration and can be attracted to where they need to be.
Yeah.
So it is, again, that be, do, have formula. And what we have to begin to comprehend what we actually need. And we're at the point here that we have more and more people that are coming to help. And now we need to have shelter for them to begin. And of course, right now in the weather being nice, we can do tents, we can do camping, so they can do rustic camping. So that's where we're at now, and then we'll begin building out. So funds are always needed and always appreciated.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we're using it now, is money, but we need to find other ways to barter and trade.
Where are you located?
Princeton, Indiana.
Princeton, Indiana. Okay. So Chris, I'm a little familiar with what he does as well. He builds houses out of steel, aluminum,
metal.
Okay. Chris, where are you located?
I'm in Illinois.
Illinois? Okay.
Yeah, about 3 hours away from Darlene.
3 hours away. I'm just wondering, it looks like you've got two pieces there. You've got the home, the ability to build homes, but of course funding is a need, and the land upon which to build them. And then Seth, I heard you talk about your background. It sounds like you would be amazing as a mentor and creator of programs to be able to connect to the people that need these services.
Yeah, and he's in Princeton as well.
I'm sorry?
He is in Princeton as well.
He's Princeton, that's what I was going to ask. Okay, so it sounds like you've got an amazing team right now to get this all pulled together. Just that's your proof of concept. You can begin your proof of concept, but I understand funding is.
That was the only reason I wanted to, I chimed in about, I would like to have that thing you're willing to share so I can get financing for the project for Darlene, so we can start doing this. So I didn't want to change off of what we were doing here for Hope Institute. It was just the point, you know, as my entity, I would like to have that so me and Darlene could move forward, because this could already have been done at Darlene if I had funding.
It's all, you've got all the pieces. You've got all the pieces to start a proof of concept. It's all there.
Yeah, so the key then is bringing together. Now, one of the things that I've talked about is packaging, is getting the packaging together to start doing the fundraising.
Yeah.
And that's always one of the biggest challenges for an organization like the Hope Institute, right? So, and this is one of the things that we're supposed to be working on right now together is putting together a package so that when I and stand up in front of people,
Yeah.
and start selling the proof of concept, what does the packaging look like?
I'd be more than happy to help you put this together.
Okay, Melanie, let's do this because
Done. It's a
Melanie,
no-brainer.
do you have my contact information?
I'm sure Cheyenne has.
yeah,
I don't.
we've got it. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
But again, it's a team that has to function together because and I know this, I have stood up and pitched, I've asked for $50 million. I'm not afraid to talk to people about things either, but it can't just be one person.
Right.
There's strength in numbers, and together you make such a bigger impact. Together, Darlene doing it all by herself would be hard. Chris doing it all by himself. It's not that it can't be done. It's just harder. Seth all by himself would be hard, but together you've got an amazing team.
Well, see, this is what I've been trying. Right,
Yeah.
Melanie, and this is what I've been trying to pull together. This
Yeah.
is what we need to pull together. Is that we've got a team right now of individuals who we've got a landowner, Darlene, right?
Yeah.
We've got Chris, who is a builder.
Yep.
We've got Seth, who is ready to start mentoring the Hope formula out here. He's one of my students. He just came through this whole project with Hope on these workshops. He's ready to start teaching people. A little bit more work we got to do together, but he's ready to start mentoring people.
Yeah.
And so, and we've got Shein, and Shein is a great trying a solutions bringer together person.
Yep.
So, and then you got me, and I'm that guy that goes out and starts talking and starts selling the concept.
So when we have conversations, when I share my information and Chris shares his information and Darlene shares her information, is there a place where everybody can go to share and see what everybody's sharing? So we're not having private conversations with everybody, that everybody's involved.
Yeah, the group, I set up a group last week. It's called Let's Build This.
Yeah.
It's on Google. I invited everybody. Everybody, did y'all get that email for the group? I'll add Melanie to it. Seth, you got it, right?
When you go off on silos,
Yeah,
that's
I think so. I'm
starts to
checking
break
right
apart.
now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I want us to make sure that we don't do. Everybody, Chris has got his own nonprofit building homes, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. I mean, that's all perfect. But for this,
Fits in the puzzle. It's a
it fits
piece.
in the puzzle. Yes.
Yeah.
And so here's what I see happening with this. I see us getting together, formulating this collaboration, fund the Hope Institute, and then the Hope Institute funds these projects to help build these homes, help set up stuff for Darlene, and do all that stuff. That's how I see this happening.
Is everybody on board with that?
Well, one thing that I've ran into a problem with in doing this for the past 15 years is every organization out there right now, they work somewhat, they do a little bit of stuff together, but their internals and what they actually decide to do, they do individually.
Yeah.
And they file their own grants, they run their own programs. And one thing that I had an epiphany this month, and I missed last week's meeting, but it was.
We're losing you, Chris. We lost you,
Shannon's in
Chris.
the waiting room.
Or 9 o'clock my time, it was over. So I tried to get in on the last week's meeting.
Chris, we
But
can't hear you. Chris, you're not coming through, buddy. We can't understand what you're saying.
I will come back on in a few minutes.
Okay. So I think,
Hey, Rick,
yeah.
Shan's in the waiting room.
Oh, yeah, she is. She's coming back on. So Chris is probably in his car going somewhere. He'll pull over and rejoin us, I'm sure.
So just to his point is, this is what we were working on a while back, is everybody functions independently because everybody has their own company, their own nonprofit, their own
Right.
skills and stuff, but they also function together as a group. So, but the danger is if you start getting these silos where they start spinning off, and it can hurt the group. So that it's just, you got to have people that are willing to collaborate.
That's right. That's my fear.
Yeah.
That is a very real fear that I think we should all understand.
If it's addressed up front, then usually you're okay. And it's the environment. You got to keep the environment that this is a community project. We're all working together, but also recognizing that everybody has their own piece.
Yeah, yeah.
If you guys can hear me, I'll talk again for a second here. I wound up realizing that all the entities need, I mean, I've known this, that we needed to work in unity in every community to give an equal opportunity. It's something I've said, everyone knows it, but it came more down to give them the program. So now we're teaching all of these organizations how to fish. Now, once they have the program, they work the program, because we cannot be in every community. And if we try, these people will die because we can't do it. There's not enough of us. But if we all come together in a collaboration, that there's a program that answers the problems we have in this country, we address it. If they do not address it and do not embrace it and get their own grants for the program and work them through their organizations, then we expose them as part of the problem, because they're trying to hold people down. Because I gave 27 of these presentations to different COCs, and I know that the mission of the COC Continuum of Care is to come up with a solution to eradicate the homeless problem. And they feel that if they stay at the national average or right there, or right under it or right above it, and that's 10 to 15% of the homeless population getting help for a year. And I thought it was disgusting. I had to wait and listen a whole year before I can make a presentation. And when I did, I addressed everything they spoke about for the entire 12 months with a solution that embraced our children, embraced our unemployed, our underemployed. But by bringing this to them and giving them the program, well, now they work it. But they need to report back and say what they're doing. Let us all know what is going on wherever it's at, because if they have any weak points, other communities can be their strength.
That's what the Hope model does.
Right, but they're already established. If I tried to go get every contact that the Salvation Army or the Red Cross or the United Way has, I would spend $100 million and the next 10 years trying to do that. But I've got something that actually people want to listen to. But right now, great things have happened this past week. We're actually fixing to build a grocery store, and we're going to build it with the entire community.
Okay, so yes, the model of,
I made a video.
I know you're still talking, Chris. See, we lost you again, man, and so I'm not sure
Okay.
where you're at, but
I'm right in between two towers. I got about a mile and I'm clear again.
So again, what we're talking about here is everybody has their thing. We're all coming together to make the Hope Institute concept work using resources and everyone's stuff together, right? To make the Institute concept work. So I don't see a problem. The only thing that is like Melanie's saying, and this is where we've got to be careful. We've got to just be upfront with it and transparent about this thing. We have to understand that if we're going to come together in this way, we're going to have some agreement about how we're going to handle business. It's just like anything else. We've got to have some agreement about how we're going to conduct business. And so here's my thing. And it can be as simple as just this. You know, I'm your CEO, I'm your chief empowerment officer, Melanie's the treasurer, whoever's going to be the secretary is the secretary, whoever the builder is going to be the builder as is on the thing, helping us to build this thing and make decisions about the Hope Institute. And Chris, this is what I brought to you one day when we were talking. You are a builder, or you are a connector of builders. So here's my thing. Like if we do Darlene's place, right? And again, I'm a visionary guy, right? I got this thing in my head that won't go away. So let me just share this with you.
Look at the chat, please.
Okay. Member option, ideal network.
Everything that you're talking about has already been created, and it's sitting there to be brought up to par or whatever. The only thing that we need right now is tech people to help with rebuilding the websites that have been hacked or that's been left to. We had to move our server because the main server was hacked. And it's just a matter right now, the only thing that I'm missing here, and I'm saying but it's really we are missing here, is people that can sit with me in the same room and work on updating all of the dead links on all of the sites from Liberty Zone on up. And so it really is, you start with the membership. This has to be a membership organization. Okay. Okay, you can shake your head all you want to, but without having it in a way that we're all part of the super puzzle, it don't work. So we're using different terminologies, but you have to have, and I'm looking at the legal side of it and etc. In order for people to live in this system that we have in the United States of America right now and around the planet, because this is a global thing, you have to have it as people who are working together for a common goal. Okay, and so as we work with this common purpose, then we're moving forward, and it's all about learning how to live in ideal conditions. That is your common goal, is to live in ideal conditions around the universe, life empowering conditions. So we all can agree on that. So you find your levels of agreement and you begin with that. So what you want to do is create a system where people can become a free member, bringing to the table their skills, their ideals, their hope, and all the things that they get. So you begin with that beginning option, okay? Then the next one is that level of support. A person is a supporter with their talents, with their skills, with financial contributions. And Cheyenne brought to the table this past week, well, actually she brought it to the table quite a while ago, again about the trade certificates, of what they're calling trade tokens, with a group that's called Uplift. And of course, we've always called this Lift Up and Uplift. So it's all there. Okay, the next thing is in teaching people how to be entrepreneurs. how to be able to take their business, their hobby, their love, their passion, and turn it into an entrepreneurship. That is the dynamic. We use it and teach how the system of America was made great by the fact that we had family-owned and operated businesses, family-owned and operated farms and businesses. Those who went out to do the gold mine. What did we hit? Who made the most money? Those providing the tools. Okay. So then we have mentors and coaches that teach the higher level of thinking. And then we have the developers, the connectors, and the integrators. And then we have the ideal network administrators. And you were just talking about the administrative level. So what we're talking about is, first and foremost, you have to understand how the universe is designed around free will creatures. It's a bottom-up system. It starts, the pyramid is the strength by the bottom of it being very large. But it's the top of the pyramid that produces the energy. So when you understand how the universes were designed, then you realize the administrator is at the top pinnacle only to provide the power for the foundation to stay sound and stable. And when you take the top of the administration part off of it, it starts to crumble. So what you are trying to say is something that already you've learned in FEMA and all of the other dynamics, is what gets in our way is institutionalization that creates stagnation of specialties instead of integration of specialties. Okay, so this is where we started with this, and I'm talking about we are going all the way back to where Jesus came to the planet, okay? All the way back to the basics of what was he teaching as to how to create a sustainable system. You create the disciples. You create the people who understand the system to start with. I am reviewing again, most of you people know Deepak Chopra. You know what I'm talking about, who Dr. Chopra is, okay? He understood very early on, many, many years ago, about energy and how it functions. This is all about us being able to create a system that understands how the universes work. It's about energy transmutation, understanding what Einstein understood. This is all about us working at the mental level, which is what's happening right now. By our minds and our thoughts coming together, we are attracting, and people are being attracted to us. When we understand how the universe and energy works, we begin to realize, hey, we are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, sitting here in this room today, talking about this, and getting all on the same page, so that each of our pieces of the puzzle go into place with grace, elegance, and ease. So I'm just letting you know that what you are already talking about, we already have on a planet all of these pieces. What we are doing now is assembling the pieces. And that's what's lacking right now. Is what happened was on the planet, thanks to the cabal or whoever else you wanted to place the causation, the box of puzzles got spilt. Okay, and so now we are reassembling the puzzle pieces, and this is what Cheyenne and we are all talking about. This is what Wallace Ward started helping to do in our generation. Okay, is to reassemble those pieces of the super puzzle and make it happen. So we have the people, we just have to reassemble them. The people that come through the Neotech and Neothink groups, the people that are part of the Urantia group. You know, these are people that are beginning to comprehend And now it's a matter for us to create that attracting that brings them together. And it's by creating the local communities, a place where people can go, the camps. President Trump just signed this past week the re-upping of all of the national parks and the national treasures that we have on this planet. The whole key is for people to have a place to assemble and learn how to work together. Community gardens, things that bring us together and working on common things locally. It's about local home rule. President Eisenhower put together the dynamic of this with the superhighways and the exits. Understanding that when you get off the exit and you go into a community, if you don't like what you find there, it's not your responsibility to do anything about it. You get back on the highway and find somebody that you already align with. Now, if you find that the civilization that you, or the area that you just got off of in the exit was doing things that were not life empowering, were harming the people there, and they were actually enslaved and they were not doing things voluntarily, then it's okay to begin to assemble a group of people who can go back to that community and with love begin to share with them how they can escape if they want to, or, you know, in other words, you begin the self-correcting that's happened. But the first thing you have to do is assemble the quote unquote, those who are life empowering, those who are creating harmonics and understand energy. And this is where we put the idea of the Ideal Network projects together. And just remember, Shay, I have a nonprofit, okay? But I mean, it's again, it has to have a way that we're all working together on this. And it may be that we need to create a dynamic that is, I mean, Richard is doing nothing more than what people have been doing since the time that Christ came and did this. And it has always created fractures because we've not learned the skill of integrating specialties. That's the hang up at the particular moment. And I think that the methodology that we're using here with the Hope Institute, with the Hope idea, is giving us a formula to work from. That's where people need to have. We need to have that common denominator they all agree upon. And that's where him coming out of retirement helps to be able to do that part of it, of being at the administrative level. We need somebody who can dedicate their life to being a part of this integration at the top. And then we have Chris, who have reached out and being able to reach people from another level at bringing together. It is about bringing together and the collaboration that will happen from that. We are all part of this, but we already have much of the foundation already laid for this. We just have to tap into it. Just like the pyramids that are still standing, if we build it with the right foundation, it will always stay sustainable. It will be there forever. Okay, I yield.
Yeah, we've lost Sheehan. Chris, you back?
Yeah, I'm here. And when we talk sustainable, that was what, you know, I heard Melody. Did I get that right? Is it
Yeah.
Melanie or Melody?
No, Melanie's right.
Okay. You know, we got to create these jobs. It's not, this is a hand up, not a handout. It's support. You're not alone anymore. These are all key things that are all about everything, but also your Hope Institute is to reach into their inner being and let them become who they're going to be. But they've got to be able to be sustainable. And which she said that's the key thing, and that's been the problem with everybody across the country, because every other program out there has been a Band-Aid because they haven't put a stitch one or an antibiotic on the wound. They are just surviving. Now, people aren't. People are dying. So as sustainability comes, they need a $20 an hour job and they need a home to live in. That can take care of a family. Now, if two people work in a family, they're really doing well. But they can have the abilities when they're done going through the Hope Institute, through the programs of the buildings, through all of it, all the different collaborations of the unions across the country that we're working with. And by reaching in and getting them inside and giving them a purpose. Everybody has a purpose, and we all have one, but everyone needs one, and they need to know that they have one, and they need a little direction. And that's where the Hope Institute comes in. That's the part where we got to give the individual that has free will and free thought to do what needs to be done inside of them. And we need some action to go towards sustainability, you know, to get our thing moving here. But now to talk about sustainability, we can create those jobs. Those jobs are here because we can recover and rebuild these disasters. Now, the money's there through the federal government and insurance companies to pay a great wage, take care of these people, give them respect because they actually have ownership in the home they're building. They put pride in there. It's not a rental property. We're trying to take everyone from poverty to prosper, and they need it spiritually and they need it financially. And right now is the largest turnover of money ever. And we've got this CFO right here on the phone that knows these numbers and knows what's going on across the country because I've been listening a little here. And these are key ingredients because we have sustainability. Right now, if I had $250,000, now that's not a lot of money. I know that CFO is going to say that's not a lot of money. And if I had that, I would have every frame standing on Darlene's property. Now the frames would be there. They'd be built. The material would be there. We would already be moving forward. But I needed grant writers. I needed things to come together for our organization on my side so I could get some money so I could do the thing. Now, by doing that $250,000, that's not saying that there's not people going to be paid in that community that's being built in, because that's the whole thing, is support local business, but also create an economy for these people in that community. It's not just, you can't just give them a place to live and expect them to take care of it. You're not going to, and they forget about them. Once they're inside the door, they got them off. They're not there to continue the support with them. And that's where it all has to come together. And I'm working on it with our young people just because our children are the future, and they need to be taught from birth that they have the right to have a home, to make sure that everyone else has a home, and don't think of themselves first. Think of others. And that would make them stronger inside. But from first grade to eighth grade is their super sponge. Now, we want them at that time to realize they are the authority. We're going to let them design homes that what the high school students will build. But we've got to feed their hunger first to catch their interest, because the only interest on their mind when they get off school is to go get something to eat. So we feed them, then we embrace them. But I've been going around and talking to all the chiefs of polices around my area, and I told them, I said, when you get off work, I said, would you change into plain clothes and show up and be a father figure to more than your kids? I said, because there's kids out here. I said, but I need you to show up as a human being, not this thing that I'm better than you. And if you do something, I'm going to be mad at you. Know, something's going to happen to you. This is where we need to embrace our children and let them know that we're not the enemy. We need to stop the hate. Hate has to stop, and love has to begin.
And it's going to start by us teaching this next generation to teach the older generations what they've lost, because we have to embrace them and do it. And that so far I've got the chiefs to say they're in, and all the officers saying they're in, and the people down at the Kroger grocery store saying they're in. The gas station, because everyone will have children. I mean, it's time to embrace everything. We do have a great foundation going here. Everybody trying to have their position, I guess, here on the board. I know those comments about getting a resume out there. I'm probably the only one on this phone call that hasn't sent him the information he's asking for. And it's because I don't have one. So I'm going to call Rick and we're going to write one down, because we're going to record the conversation. He can do it out the way he needs it written. And we're going to have that part, and we'll figure out what my stance is in this situation. But of course, your organization is a key little puzzle piece, and every person's face is going to be a puzzle piece of everything. And when we make that picture, it's going to be a beautiful portrait, and everyone's going to be involved in it, and it'll be a one of a kind.
Thank you, Chris. That's really what we need to, that's really, what I'm asking for us to be able to do here is to bring that puzzle together and snap it together. And as Darlene was saying, this administrative concept, this facilitator concept that she was bringing to the conversation is absolutely a piece of it, is crucial here. And so I went in and I looked at the Ideal Networks page just a couple of minutes ago as we were all talking. It's got some really good ideas in there about membership stuff. And I can understand what that means. One of the ideas that I want to, when we're talking about fundraising and grants and that kind of thing, and we talk about memberships and that, and we talk about sustainability and that kind of thing. When you look at the business model, and I hope that you guys are looking at it, I really do. I'm going to send it to Melanie after we get off here. The sustainability of the hope idea and the sustainability of these institutes is twofold. One is that these institutes actually have produced produce and food and things like that they can sell out in the market or in the community, as well as these folks that we're training and setting up businesses with. We ask them if they would agree to help give back to the institute that got them where they are. Not demanding it. We're hoping and asking that they will help do that, to help sustain the Hope Institute going forward, so that it's a self-perpetuating organization to help seed other institutes across the country. I'll give you an example. Take Seth, for example. And Seth, I don't want you to take this as though this is going to happen, but let's take Seth as an example. So Seth goes and let's say we do a proof of concept at Darlene's place, right? And we set him up and he becomes this mentor at what Darlene's calling her place. And he uses the Hope formula to mentor people. And let's say that there is a teacher there who is let's say that Chris is there and he's teaching people how to build homes. Or somebody that Chris brings in to help build homes because Chris is busy doing other things. He needs to teach someone how to build homes. So we've got a master builder that lives on the property and he's teaching people how to build homes. And so let's say that as Seth learns the concepts of how to build an Hope Institute, then he comes to the board and he says, I want to build a Hope Institute and I want to build it in such and such town in such and such state. And we're able to do that with him. So then he goes off and he builds an institute, and that's putting money. When he does that, he's an agreement, and he goes in. He's now a founding member of his own institute, and that's generating money back into the coffers of the Hope Institute. as a macro. So the self-sustaining piece of this thing in the business model is laid out in there about how that can evolve into a self-perpetuating machine over time, and how the people that leave there, the students in particular, are the ones who are self-sustaining. Because when they leave there, they have the tools that they need to go out and start a business or to go out and get a job, because we help them do that. You guys, we help them to build a business, to help them to get a job in the community or wherever it is they go once they've got the skills they need to find that job.
May I tell you what destroyed America?
What?
When they ripped the heart out of the local communities by taking the children out of the homes and the neighborhoods and putting them into schools that were designed to dumb them down.
Right.
We have to go back to the neighborhood schoolhouses if we're going to use personalized education. Now can be done. We have a golden opportunity with what's going on right now, and we really missed it by not applying during this quote unquote pandemic the dynamic of personalized education, where parents could perceive and conceive of being able to educate their children at home and in local communities, working together to build playgrounds and things like we had.
Right.
So this is our core starting right now, is right now in every community, we can help neighborhoods begin to work together to build reclaim their sovereignty, reclaim their parenting rights, to reclaim their ability to take control of their lives and rebuild them. So we have a golden opportunity right now in this quote unquote recovery stage on a global scale to really do what we're talking about. And it is by individuals realizing their own essence. Why are they here on this planet at this particular time? To help in this recovery, to restore the mission that Jesus assigned to us many years ago, over 2,000 years ago, of creating the dynamic of the family first. Understanding that it is the family, the multi-generation. When I say family, I mean multi-generation. All of those living at the present time in a family unit. And when we don't have a functional multi-generational, is to start systems that help repair that in the next generations. Okay, and being able to bring together all of these elements. So it's by putting together the gardens of Eden. In other words, you have gardens, you have communities with gardens and manufacturing, in other words, building the tools. So we have a whole, how many billions of people on this planet? They just need to learn how to integrate all specialties around their family unit. And a family unit can be adopted families. In other words, if they have their birth families have been fractured, then like Seth is doing, is rebuilding a family around this common purpose of having ideal conditions in which to live. So that's our purpose. Our purpose is all around everyone working to create an ideal situation around which they live. Ideal homes, ideal food. What's the first thing we need? The Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And that's what we're talking about here, is going to reaching out to those who are disenfranchised, those who are homeless, and giving them a property, a place to congregate and begin working together with the Art of Living Academy and the vocational learning and bringing them together. So we are so powerful in what we are doing right now, because this is what the planet needs. And it needs to be integrated with all of the elements that are already on the planet that are doing good works. There's two groups of people that are helping. The thing that's blocking more than anything else right now is the medium of exchange. Okay, and so that is where I see we might be able to do something with the Common Good .earth group and the Uplift.org group. Is providing us with these trading type bartering and having the integrated computer system to be able to do the tracking that we need. That's what's been blocking this for a long time. We've been able to do local currency type things, but we've not been able to do it where it's exchangeable on a global scale, you know, and so that we don't have to destroy the we don't have to see a collapse of the industries and all of the great things that we've built on this planet. We don't need to destroy all of that. We need to provide an undergirding that provides everyone the ability to win. And so it's a win-win-win. It's everybody wins. In other words, everyone needs something. And we need a core group like ourselves who understand a holistic standpoint of how do we save this planet and how do we get it out of the grasp of those who are pulling it down and trying to destroy it. And for those who understand this pandemic and why it was all brought about, it was to collapse the growing knowledge that people were realizing that we are the individual sovereigns, not some organization at the top. And this, again, is what Cabal and all of the other organizations that are out to destroy and enslave. So it's a difference between two mentalities, the slave mentality and the freedom mentality, where we have the free will to work together, because by free will, you know when it's life empowering. You know when something is giving you the ability to live better. You know that internally. That's what we have to re-empower, and that's what I see that the HOPE program does. That's why I encouraged you so much to do what you're doing, is because you have a formula there that people need to have in order to be able to, first and foremost, have the confidence that, yeah, I can make my choices. And I realize that it's the consequences of my choices. I don't have to have a big brother at the top telling me that I got to pay this or I got to do that. This is internal, and that's the power that we have. And I think when you begin bringing that message forward, which I'm seeing it beginning to come forward in you, is that the hope formula, and you started calling this the HOPE formula, and that is the key. It's just like Einstein and others who have given us formulas to work for. It's replicatable. That's what science looks for. Science looks for things that are replicatable and sustainable. That's what you've got. You've got the power. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And so and Chris has got a piece of this. Every one of us have got a piece of what we are doing here. And this is, you have right behind you. I look at the books that you have right behind you, the SOS and the Pax Neo thing. All of these areas, there are pieces in there, but they're too deeply buried for the average individual to get it. They're too busy trying to survive that they're not able to grasp the depth of what we're talking about. What you are providing right now and what we are providing ourselves right now is that ability to take the time and work through creating that sound foundation. The foundation that makes that pyramid possible. And without that, it's going to fail over and over again. And this is the reason it keeps failing. And so I just applaud you for what you're doing. And remember, my job is as a preacher. I preach. That's what I've been trained to do. Because understanding that the difference between that, many times, like I can work with Maggie, who is my 3-year-old great grandchild here, that's with me most of the time. I get to see her as a great grandchild, and I see her and her wisdom. And as a 3-year-old child, she can do things that most kids that are 8 or 9 cannot do, because nobody has stood in her way of developing her brain and her ability to learn. It's fun for her to learn. And what we've done in our society is taken away the fun of life. You know, our ascension career is supposed to be with grace, elegance, and ease. It's supposed to be fun and challenging and something to share. And the new maintenance person out here in the country showed up from a past experience of working with I guess, us taking her off the streets, giving her abilities and etc. And she has showed up, and last night she brought her 12-year-old son here to the property. She has had to let someone else take care of her child over a period of time. And her dream came true. When she came back and she said, I want to pay it forward. You helped me then. What can I do to help you now? And I said, well, it's not about helping me. It's about helping the project. It's about helping to build the community. She said, I'm your person. I can do everything. I can cut trees. I can build buildings. I can do everything. So what she did during the time that she left our facility after she became sustainable enough to move on, she has learned all of these things. The only thing that she couldn't do was to have a place where she could bring her child with her. We welcome the families. You don't have to leave your families behind, but they have to be a part of the project. They can't just move here and think they're going to live off of the food. They've got to be a part of growing the food. They've got to be a part of taking care of the property. They've got to be a part of building the society. This is what's been taken away from our people. They don't feel a connection with the community they live in. That's what your program gives them. That reconnecting with first themselves and their essence, and then reconnecting with the people by bringing other people to understanding this. And this is the same thing that all of us are doing. The 4 of us that are still here are part of that. And you know, Seth is a living example. He's right downstairs in the lower level of this house. Okay, the main house, what we call the main house here. Okay, we rescued Seth, and Seth will tell you the story there. If it hadn't have been for me stepping forward and saying, Seth, get in my car and go with me now, I'll give you shelter, he would have been back on the street out of our own shelter, because the person that was running the shelter and him got to be in very great conflict. But I felt a responsibility to Seth because I can see his progress was starting. Okay. And so he had a lot of rough edges. Yes, he had a lot of rough edges. But I told him if he did what I told him to do, without question to start with, just do what I tell you to do. Don't have to understand it. Don't want you to understand it because it takes too long. These are the steps you do. Okay? And he's done them faithfully. When I said, read this, he read it. When I said, write this, he wrote it. He did what needed to be done to be able to build his foundation there. And now he's getting his wings so he can more and more fly. You know, and you know, you have in your book that 5,000 foot view.
Right.
Okay. I'm teaching him now. He's learning to look at from the 5,000 foot view of how his whole life can be, where he can have his daughter know that he's the father, where he can be a part of what he wants to repair had he not lost his way. That's what we're doing. we have a power to help both sustain, and we're working on both levels, the ideal level and that which is very, very impoverished and etc. So they'll meet in the middle. It's a raise up and it's a view from the top. Am I getting this? Am I on the same page? Are we here seeing this working together?
Yeah, I think so. And I just want to, as we draw this thing to a somewhat of a close here in the next few minutes, there's something I want to add, and I want everybody to understand what I'm going to say here. From my background, I want to add a bit more of a thought to this whole discussion we're having here. I'm a project manager, and I'm a businessman. You know, I've run businesses, I've set up businesses, I've collapsed businesses, I've bankrupted businesses. I'm a project management professional with the Project Management Institute. I've done projects from start to finish. The work that I do with FEMA requires me to plan, initiate, plan, execute, control, and close out projects from start to finish. So I just want to add this thought to everyone's process here, and we're going through this. The reason for the Hope Institute is to not just set up these places, okay? The Hope Institute is a funding organization, if you will. One of the goals of this thing is to take folks like Chris and others who have these other project organizations and fund them to go out and build and do. When Chris says things to me like, I can build houses and I can provide jobs, the first thing that comes to my mind is, I want to give this guy $250,000 so that he can go out here and hire homeless people to go out and build homeless people houses in places like Princeton, Indiana. Then it comes to my mind that I want to go at some point and be in Princeton, Indiana as a project management professional to help pull these projects together from initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and closeout. I am capable of that. I'm a professional at it, and I can do that kind of thing. So I just want to, as we wrap this call up today, I want people to start thinking about there's more to this than just what I'm talking about with the Hope formula. Though God gave me that formula, the universe gave it to me. Our Creator put it to me to go out and do this. But I believe that there's more than the reason that He gave it to me than writing a book and talking about the concepts behind it. Yes, I teach it because that's the message, that's my power, that's my essence. But I've got these other talents, if you will, that can be brought to bear on these projects. That's why I think I was chosen to do this. I don't think I was chosen only to write the book and coach people in the workbook and things like that. I'm also here to teach people how to run these institutes and build them. With a group of people, I can't do this on my own. I need a treasurer, I need a secretary, I need people like you who are willing to work with me to make it happen. So yes, Darlene, we're on the same page. We understand this stuff. We have been taught and mentored for years in how to do this stuff on a universal level. So the civilization of the universe is coming to bear on us. And the pandemic has put us in a spot where we need to have more people being taught the Hope formula, which is why we're offering these workshops on Tuesday nights. And I think it's going to blossom. I had an opportunity to sit with some other people of victims of other things that I never knew existed. Virtual torture. Anybody ever heard of that?
Yes.
I had an opportunity to talk to some people about that the other night. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to set up a group to be able to coach them in that. But the main thing I'm talking about here is that if people partner with me, I'm going to get the funding. I'm going to bring the funding in. It is going to happen. I'm going to partner with the people who are willing to work with me to be a part of this team that says, I'm going to stand up in front of a group of 100 people who are philanthropists and granters, and I'm going to bring in the cash. And I'm going to be able to give people money to go out and build these places and set them up and do what they got to do. That's what I'm going to do. And that's all I got to say today. Anybody want to add anything before we close it up?
Oh, did everybody remember to save their chat at the end of the call before you leave?
Where do y'all do that at?
You go down at the bottom where your text message is, okay, and there's 3 little dots there, on mine at least, and it'll say save chat.
It don't have it.
And then
When
whenever
I press,
you can open it in your folder. It says show in folder. If you're doing it on the computer.
when I press that, it says disable video receive.
It says disabled.
Disable video receiving. I got the Zoom room chat.
There's 3 little dots.
Chat area. Do you have the chat area open?
Yeah.
There at the bottom where it says file. It should say, there's the drop down menu. It says everyone or whatever. You can send it to each of the persons. Across from that, there should be file. And then next to the file is more, the 3 dots.
One doesn't have that
What are you on, the phone or the computer?
on a computer.
Well, it should be there.
I've got the chat and the everyone. I've
Okay,
got that open.
across from that part of it, it should be where it says file, and there should be 3 dots next to it. Either that, or you can go up there and you can go up into the chat area and drag your mouse up and highlight it, and then copy it to a file yourself.
Oh, you turned 21 right after. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
See it, Seth?
It's not there, but I am going to copy it.
Yeah, you can drag it up and copy, and then go and bring it over to another file, over to whatever you use for your documents.
We're gonna. No.
Oh, what do they do?
We're design on the high school. We're gonna do it out of recycled disasters, creating a beautiful way of life. Doesn't have a job. So we're going to end the homeless problem and end the jobless problem.
Is there a website?
Yes, there is. It's Hope for Housing.
Hope for Housing.
You can go to .com.org, doesn't matter.
Okay.
I bought them both.
Awesome.
But the thing is it belongs to that baby.
Okay.
It belongs to you. You're my partner. Partnering with every person with Social Security number so we can't